50 Acres is a virtual agency, and it is what sets us apart from others. We do work in different locations. People do either work in co-working spaces or from home or on the road when they're travelling. And that does set some challenges. It gives people enormous freedom, but it also does have some challenges. And what that has led us to do is to rely on a lot of really great technological platforms and apps that we really use to make the business and the sort of workflow and the productivity work. Surprisingly though, the fact that we are a virtual workplace hasn't thrown up challenges of not being able to trust people. Really only once in the last 9 years have I ever challenged or questioned anyone's allocation of time to a particular project, because I think you'll find that, just like if you're sitting with someone 2 seats away in the office, you're not really sure what they're doing. They could be bunking off, they could be internet shopping, they could be daydreaming, they could be, instant messaging with their boyfriend or father and mother. We don't really know what all of us do all day. And so I think it really comes down to trust and deadlines. And for us, it's worked really well. I think what small businesses can do and agencies can do to retain their culture is obviously have the principle that drives them. Why did they start off in the first place? At the heart of everything they do, at the heart of every hire, at the heart of every project that they, start to work on, and don't forget that. Don't put that to one side. For us, it's about doing projects, for purpose projects. For others, it's about working in a particular sector or on a particular speciality. But I think if you remember what you started the business for and what drove you to kick it off in the first place, what was the passion that you had on day one, and make sure it's there still through the growth, then I think you're probably on your way to succeeding and not losing your culture. So the sorts of unique policies and procedures that we have gravitated to over time is to allow people to be flexible. We started out with the principle, or I started the agency with the principle of wanting to be flexible. It's how I wanted to work. So I wanted other people to be able to work in the same way. So we allow people to be able to work and live wherever they want. At the moment, I've got someone working in South America, and she's about to move to Indonesia. We've had people working in and around all over the place. For us, where you're located isn't critical to what you do. Obviously, people need to be present to meet people, but it's important that they can feel that they can work and travel at the same time, which is an absolutely key thing of what we do. So we allow people to do that pretty freely. Obviously, there's a fair amount of trust in that. So day one, you wouldn't be able to sort of take off with a backpack. But if you've been with us for a little while, then travelling and working is totally fine. It's part of the furniture. Another thing that we do that's quite unique is I give people a health and fitness allowance. I encourage them to get out and do stuff. So that's an allowance to cover, apps for meditation, apps for fitness, yoga memberships, all of those sorts of things, to encourage them to go out and do something. And I know people, various companies might do that, but it's something that we've come to, which we think, people are sitting at a workplace or at a desk, and it's really important for them to get out, get up and stand up and do something. It's something that we've really encouraged them to do. The other thing that we do that I think is really unique is work around people's individual needs and situations. We've got a couple of people who have got some chronic illnesses. They are, 95% functional, and aren't we all really? If we're lucky, 95% functional. There's some times when they're off sick, but we allow a great deal of flexibility to work around hospital appointments, people with children and young children who may need to stay at home with them, etc., etc. Because people can work and live from home, there's an absolute, it's easy for them to have their children or their medical needs merge into their life. And so for us, my philosophy is, work needs to fit into life, not life fitting into work. What I'm really looking forward to going to Sage is to meet some other independent agencies. It's so often that we're all operating in our own little bubble, in our own little factory, in our own little, our own little sort of pedaling in our own race, and we don't always stop and talk to others and learn from others. I know how much of a struggle it was for me to start up 9 years ago, and I still don't have a business plan to this day, and I've been told by my accountant that I shouldn't develop one now because we're too big, but it'll be really interesting to learn from and talk to some of the people from the position of sharing some of my own personal journey, but also hearing back from them about some of the struggles and challenges and excitement that they've had. What's prompted them to create an agency in the first place. It's an amazing thing to establish a business. It's an amazing thing to establish a creative agency of any sort. And so it'll be really interesting and really exciting to hear from them about, what their journeys are.